Hello everyone, my name is Kyle Wynn. This is the second video in a series I'm doing that's essentially just displaying my process for designing sounds. The previous one we saw was me doing a simple lever sound effect. This one is going to be for a coin pickup. So one of the things that kind of makes that stereotypical coin pickup sound is just a very simple synthesizer like the ESM here, which is a monophonic synth, which means it can only play one thing at a time. So if I bring up my musical typing thing, I can't play more than one note, which is perfect for what I'm using. One of the things I do want to delete or get rid of is the glide function. With the glide on it, it does that kind of pitching up to the next note, but I want to do that very stereotypical kind of sound, which is a C to a G root and then a fifth sound effect. I've used this in different projects before. What I'm essentially doing right now is I'm bringing the cutoff all the way up so it gives you the full rich wave sound, and bringing the resonance all the way down so it's not really doing anything with this filter here, just kind of bypassing it. What I'm going to do is just record. I'm actually just going to key it in with the MIDI region here. I wanted to kill that real quick. Bring that back, and then bring this down a little bit. So I'm going to go up to C6, where my first note is, do one little increment there, which I believe is like a half frame, or no, just one frame. Yeah, I think it's a frame or a semi-frame. I don't know what because I'm using SMPTE time for this one. I didn't explain it in the previous video, but I have it instead of being, I don't even know where to change that at. So instead of having it move based on beats and measures, I'm having it move based on SMPTE time, which helps to not have any sort of snapping or want to align to any sort of grid. It just kind of makes the workflow a little bit easier and kind of doesn't constrain me as much. Although with this, it might not be the best choice, but I think it's working fine for now. So instead of just having this very traditional sound effect, I think it will do better if I pull this out a little bit. You know, very standard sound. I've used it in other projects before. What I'm going to do is instead bring this to another C and then up to another G. And so kind of have a much more sweeping sound here, which kind of is just a little bit bigger of a sound. I kind of like that. I'm going to try it pitched down one. Yeah, I like it down actually. Cool. So I'm going to leave it like that. Trim that just to make sure. And then what I'm going to do next is add a little bit of chorus. Now what this does is gives it a little bit more color. Essentially, it's all it really does is it kind of just adds a little bit in each different speaker, so you get a much more stereo sounding effect. And I'm going to up the rate a little bit just so it doesn't sound as chorusy. It doesn't sound like it's actually moving, but it just sounds a little bit whiter and brighter and with a little bit more color. Then what I'm going to do is utilize a Reverb plugin. Well, it's essentially a Reverb plugin. Most people use it as a Reverb plugin, but the initial creators at Apple hit all these awesome little textures and speaker impulse responses as well. And what this does is allows you to simulate it being played through either a traditional amp cabinet or transistor radio or a little phone speaker. So we'll do a little phone speaker just to get an idea of what it does. So it just kind of makes it sound like it is coming out of some other different kind of speaker or going through some sort of analog circuit. One of the things I did like was the circuit bent megaphone. And now what it does is it gives you all reverb signal or wet signal. I want to keep a good amount of my dry signal, my unreverbed signal, and then bring down the reverb signal to kind of just have it color the sound. Maybe a little bit more. It kind of adds a little bit of grit to it, some overdriven quality, as well as changing some of the frequency information. Okay, I like where that's going. Then I'm going to add another one with a different texture. Do relatively the same thing, except this one is going to be analog circuits. Where's the tape saturator? Perfect. And then same thing. I'm going to bring this up to about -3. Bring this down to about -7. Yeah, it still might be a little bit much. It kind of adds a different... This one is mostly just frequency information, not as much dynamic shaping. A little bit less even, probably. Cool. Then lastly, I wanted to add a little bit of echo onto it. So I'll go to delay and then echo. I will also go up to the recent ones too. And what it does, it starts you off with a kind of ridiculous, like it works well by itself, but in the context of a game that could sound really overwhelming and have to fight with a lot of different other sounds. So I'm only going to bring my wet signal to about 10%. And it kind of isn't as distracting, but yet you kind of get this really long tail that I want to bring down with the feedback here. I do like the rate at which it repeats. I could have it a little bit slower, but it doesn't, really work with the pace of the game very well as faster. It kind of loses itself. So we're going to keep it at 1/8 of a beat. Yeah, I like that. I might bring the feedback down a little bit more. So I get, whoop, there we go. So I get the 1 and the 2 after that. So I get 2, but that second iteration is really quiet, but it's still very present. It could get lost in the full context of the game when you have music and stuff going on as well. But I think for right now, it works for what I want it to do. That'll be it for that one. I'll go on to another sound next time. But thank you for watching, and have a great day.